Hi, and welcome to the Adelaide Horror Podcast. It's your host, Zombie Joe. Tonight is episode 4, and it's 1979. And this is a birthday special. I'm turning 41 on Friday. So I thought I'd do an episode tonight on horror movies that came out in 1979, so 41 years ago. And there were some pretty good titles, and some you would recognise from that year. One actually lands pretty much 2 days after I was born, so I'll be talking about that. And so the feature movie that I'll be reviewing on this episode is When a Stranger Calls, 1979. So this is a movie that the reason why I'm reviewing it is in episode 1, where we talked about our first horror movies that we watched, to kind of warm me up and to gauge how I was going to react. My parents hired, like I said in episode 1, Orca the Killer Whale, and then if I could handle that, then the next movie was When a Stranger Calls, and so this is what I watched. When a Stranger Calls has had a few nods to it, and one being Scream from Wes Craven. The whole scene at the beginning with Drew Barrymore, and also a scene involving Neve Campbell later on in the movie, taken from the first 20 minutes of When a Stranger Calls. So I'm going to be doing that review, and then what I'll also be doing is going through the movies from 1979, from the beginning of January right into October of that year. And also another special mention that came out in August 1979, so a month after I was born, was Fangoria, issue 1. So I'll be talking about I was born at the same time as the birth of Fangoria. So how good was that? That's pretty good. I've been going online to see if I can get my little bony hands on episode 1 and issue 1, and yeah, try $180. $180, and they're the ones that have the Godzilla poster attached to it. The ones that don't have the poster, then they're cheap as, but you want the original poster with it as well. So yeah, I'm on the hunt and still kind of debating whether I treat myself or not to trying to get my hands on issue 1. Cool. So I hope everyone has been staying safe and well, mentally healthy as well, in these kind of weird kind of times that we're living in. So I hope you're doing well. And like I said, if you just want to talk because something's getting you down, feel free to message me on Facebook and Instagram. It might take a couple of days for me to get back to you because I might not initially see the message, but you know, I'm definitely there. I'll definitely reply back to you. Yeah, if you just want to talk or whatever, cool. I'm also going to add the number to Lifeline as well for viewers in Australia. If you need to ring that, if you're feeling stressed about what's going on, definitely ring the number and look after yourself mentally as well and physically too. Okay, cool. So, like I said, the review tonight is going to be When a Stranger Calls, 1979. That came out in October, the 26th of October 1979, and I was born in July 1979 on the 24th. Amityville Horror House came out on the 26th of July 1979, so I came out. It came out 2 days after I was born, and also at the same time, AC/DC in July 1979 came out with Highway to Hell. So hopefully not a thing for me, but yeah. Anyway, so that's a pretty cool, epic little events happening around the time of my birth. So that's pretty good. 41 years ago. So yeah, let's get cracking into When a Stranger Calls. So it was written by Fred Walton, and Fred Walton also wrote it as well with Steve Feke, so that's F-E-K-E. He went on to write in 1988 Mac and Me. Remember, that was a pearl of that one. The little alien with the little bald alien and the kid, and he had the weirdest facial expressions. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Mac and Me 1988, and yeah, you're gonna for some shits and gigs of that one. That's going to be pretty funny. Fred Walton, he went on to write in 1986 April Fool's Day, which was the I saw it a few years ago. The horror movie, and the front cover art was the girl, and she's got her hair in a plait, but her plait ends in a noose, and she's holding a knife, and yeah, it's pretty cool. The movie, what I can remember kind of threw me a bit in all directions. I couldn't quite work out what was going on, and because, like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it, I'm not going to kind of start talking about it because I don't want to stuff it up, because I can't really remember it, and I don't want to give the wrong impression on this movie. All I know was that I was a bit confused by it, but then again, you know, sometimes I can be a bit of a dumbass, so it's not the movie, it's me. But yeah, I've been interested to go back and check it out because of after seeing doing the research and finding out that Fred Walton was behind that. The budget for this movie was $1 million, and it grossed $21 million globally, so it did pretty good. It was quite popular, as you can imagine, in the US, and then kind of went into the VHS sales later on. Australia really didn't get to until February 1980, so that was a summer movie for us that came out. So a lot of people would have gone and seen it at the drive-ins. Not sure if my parents did that. They're probably busy with me, but squawking the place down. Yeah, so I've got to ask my mum if she saw that, but I know she knew about it, and that's why she introduced me to it. As a kid, so I watched this in 87 or 88 when I watched this. I was either 8 or 9 when I watched this. Yeah, the runtime's an hour and a half. That's including the credits. So yeah, the two main kind of characters that I'm going to talk about in this movie is the detective, who's Charles During, so the late Charles During. He died on the 24th of December 2012, which was a bit sad. He was, I think, 89. He was a World War II veteran. This dude he was a stocky bloke. Like if you look him up, he's a unit. And I was watching the movie today, and like I said, because the last time I saw it was the 80s. I had to remember this movie, because all I remember is the opening scene, and the rest of the movie I didn't really know about, and I knew there was this kind of really tense climactic ending, and I forgot the rest of the whole entire movie, and I was thinking, well, what's in the middle of this movie? So I watched it, pleasantly surprised about how I enjoyed watching it, and it's like I said, it's a 41-year-old movie, and it holds up pretty good for that age. This detective was hilarious. There's a chase where he's actually chasing the killer, and he's going through a kitchen, and the killer runs and pushes open the swing doors, and Charles During just rips the door off one hand. Like one of the doors just comes off. He blows it off, like off its hinges. It does the old hip and shoulder. I'm like, what an absolute unit. So I don't know if it was designed on purpose that he pushes this door off, but I think he actually just ripped the door off in the middle of the scene. He hit it that hard. So look out for that one if you're going to watch it. You can grab it on YouTube. You just type in "When a Stranger Calls" 1979 full movie, and it's there. There's another re-edit. Apparently, someone else re-edited it. Instead of being an hour and 37, they've actually taken half an hour out. They've just recut this movie, so it's kind of the interesting bits, which I thought was unusual. But I didn't watch that one. I just watched the whole entire thing again, and I don't regret that I did. So I do recommend going to check this out. And if you don't want to spend the money, I mean. I won't go out and buy this on DVD and add it to my collection. I don't love it that much. I did enjoy it. There's other 79 titles that I want in my DVD collection, but yeah, not Stranger Calls. So yeah, like I said, you could get it on YouTube easily for free. So there you go. Enjoy. That way, if you don't like it, you won't be kind of, cracking it over that you spent money on it. So, all good. The next main actress in this is Carol Kane. That's her stage name. Her real name it's a Jewish last name, and it escapes me now. But it's not that it's hard to pronounce, but I just won't. Yeah, it escapes me now, so I'll just stick with Carol Kane. She's amazing. Like this is a 68-year-old woman. She did the role of Jill Johnson in A Stranger Calls. She was 26 when she did this role, and she's been working solid since 1971. Like I've gone through the IMDb her film work, and I was kind of looking for gaps, and there were just no gaps. It was just 71 to now. Like, I think everyone now would know her from The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. She plays the kind of kooky landlord or landlady. You would know her from The Dead Don't Die, the recent zombie movie with Driver, aka Kylo Ren, Cop Kylo Ren in the Dead Don't Die. She's in that one, and you also would know her from Hunters with Robert De Niro. That's on Prime Video at the moment. They play a group of Nazi hunters in the 70s. And you would also know her in Gotham. She does a stint where I believe she is the Penguin's mum, which is rather fitting that she plays that role. Yes, so an amazing actress. Funny thing is, because I really didn't realise it was, as a kid I didn't know who Carol Kane was, but I didn't realise that it was her. When I was watching Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, I thought that was just a voice of her actor, like the character. And I thought, okay, that's just her voice. Then she kind of put the voice on in Gotham, and I thought, okay, she's kind of putting it on for this one. And then, because you don't know whether the director just goes, oh, do that voice, just keep doing the voice. And then in The Dead Don't Die, it was the same situation where, she had that voice, even though she's only saying one word. So when I came to watch When a Stranger Calls, it's a 26-year-old Carol Kane with the same voice. And I went, oh, okay, that's her voice. That's her actual voice. It was really unusual. It's an unusual voice. It's not grating. You wouldn't be annoyed by it. I think at one stage when she was talking on the phone and kind of confronting the protagonist on the phone that kept bothering her with the line, have you checked the children? It sounded a bit weird, like she was trying to be confrontational and it wasn't coming out right because of her voice. But I found she did change it at one stage, and I thought that was I just felt it. I noticed it. It was a bit off in that scene, but nothing dramatic. Like doesn't make the film bad. So yeah. Anyway, kudos to her. I think that's a great man to be working since 1971. I mean, that's pretty good. And considering now her age is, how finical kind of Hollywood and the TV industry is, once you hit a certain age as a female, you kind of get pushed aside a bit. But when you're playing elderly roles, you're playing these kind of typecast, pigeonholed roles, and she's not. She's actually done. Oh, you know what? Yeah, look, I think between Gotham and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, they're almost the same. But Gotham, had her in dark clothing because it's Gotham, and because of the brooding atmosphere, she's kind of looked a bit Burtonish at that point. But in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, she's kind of that kooky. It kind of they look similar, but and then in Hunters, she kind of looks always stunned, Like, she's still got her same crazy curly hair. So I don't know if that's her character or that's just her acting style, and it's just the one thing. I still can't put my thumb on it whether that is the case or not. So, but apart from that, you know, she's, yeah, good on you that she's working since 71. That's not bad. Cool. So When a Stranger Calls is basically a horror / thriller, but leaning more to a thriller rather than a full-blown horror. You can definitely probably show a kid that's about 10 or 11 that's interested in something a bit spooky to watch. You can watch it. I never had nightmares about it. I kind of found the movie a bit fascinating. So, like I said, yeah, it's not nightmare fuel. So you can put this in front of a kid. They're not going to lose it. Yeah, so basically, like I said, the girl takes a babysitting job. She's there at the start of the movie. She gets a phone call after ringing her friend. So she thinks it's her friend Bobby that's going to ring her back. And sure enough, we get this British accent, "Have you checked the children?" And then hangs up. And so she thinks that's a bit weird, and this goes on. So like I said, the opening scene for When a Stranger Calls goes for about 25 minutes. So it's this to and from between her and this guy, and she's progressively getting creeped out. And because it's her, and then you got the creepy music as well, and the house is dark, and she's moving around the house, it kind of adds to the tension a little bit about, you know, what's going on. She thinks he's outside. Is he outside? You know, it's that kind of keeps you, the viewer, questioning what's going on. So they build the tension pretty. It's okay, like you're not at the edge of your seat, but like there's still tension. You can see what he's trying to do, and you know, so eventually after the third time he goes, "Have you checked the children?" She goes, "Oh," and she finally starts walking up the stairs. And she's heading towards the stairs. She's she's on the second flight of stairs towards the kid's room, and the phone rings again. And you know, so she goes back down, and picks up the phone, and it's, "Have you," you know, and you're thinking she was about to do that. So anyway, she has enough. She rings the cops. The cop says, "Look, you know, next time he rings, blow a whistle into the phone. They'll serve him right," kind of thing. So she goes, "Okay, I'm going to do that." The phone rings. She doesn't do that, and so she goes, "No, I've had enough of this." So she rings back again. And she's a bit more spooked and goes, "Oh, I think he's outside." So the cop goes, "Look, give me your phone number, and when he calls back, keep him on the line for a minute, and we'll trace the call." So, and she goes, "Oh, but he hangs up, you know, he doesn't stay on the phone long." And so he goes, "Look, just do what you have to do, just keep him on the phone." So anyway, you know, not even a minute or so, and then phone rings, you know, "Have you checked the children?" And she goes, "What do you want?" And they start a conversation. And it's a bit weird. And this is where his voice goes a bit high pitched, and it still shoots you a little shiver up the spine, because initially he didn't have that high pitched voice, and then it went up a bit. And she goes, "What do you want from me?" And I won't say what he says, but when he says it, the music and the tone and the high pitchedness that he says it, and her reaction, it does create a bit of a spine chill. So I'll leave that there. And then, yeah, that's the phone rings again. She picks it up, and it's the cop saying, "We've traced the call. Get out the house. He's in the house." And so, you know, the violin music, the freaky music again. So in order to get to the front door, she has to pass the staircase. And so she's looking at the staircase. She's walking to the door. She's trying to unlock the door. And you see the light in the bedroom door open upstairs, and then you see this shadow on the wall of this guy's head, you know, walking towards the stairs. So she opens the door in a panic and you know, sees another face, and there's a big scream. And that scene is a nod, and actually appears in 1996 in Scream by Wes Craven. It's David Arquette standing at the front door holding the Scream mask. So she opens the door, she sees the Scream mask and thinks it's the killer standing there. She screams, and it's not. It's the cop. Well, it's the same situation in this one. It's the cop standing there. The camera pans right into his face, and then you kind of freezes there, and then pans back out again, and it's a time lapse where the patrolman is walking up and talking about the murders that had just occurred. So, and then it skips. There's a line, and it says 7 years later. So you know there's a time lapse, and then it's now following her. It's following the detective. It's following these other policemen on the case, and it's now following this murderer who's called Kirk Duncan, and he's been institutionalised because he got caught at that first opening scene. So he's been sent to a mental institution. He then escapes, and so the pursuit is on. He's now pursuing her to finish off the job, and so she gets reminded of everything that happened that night when she was younger. So the rest of the movie is pretty much that. The second act is her being haunted and then realising he's back and he wants to get me and finish the job off. So that's that creates its own tension, and it becomes a really good thriller at that point. And Charles During, the detective, is just in this pursuit, this angered hunting pursuit of Kurt Duncan. Kurt Duncan, the actual killer. Now, I've got here, I'm just checking the notes where I've got him down. Tony Beckley, that's right. Now, Tony Beckley, this was his last movie. He actually died within 2 months, maybe 3 months of this movie. He died in the 1980s, which 1980, which was a shame. It was his last movie. But he was actually in 1969 with Michael Caine for The Italian Job. So it's a pretty, you know, he's got some good acting credits behind him. So that was a shame that this was his last movie. Having said that, however, him playing the killer in this, and the stalker and the psycho in this, was really, really good. This guy portrayed it very well, and I think he kind of tapped Anthony Perkins in Psycho for this one. Like he does this whole speech how he's untouchable, and he's not talking to anyone. He's just talking to himself in the dark, looking at the moon. He goes, "I'm untouchable," and he goes into this rant, and it's really off-putting. He's really off-center. He's cooked. So he portrayed the role very well, and rewatching this, I was thinking, you know what, credit to this guy. He does an incredible job in being really full on. And then there's this final pursuit, and then at the end he eventually gets to the house where Carol Kane and her family are now, years later, and there's a bit of a showdown. So, and that's where I'll leave it. It's the 120 mark is where it all goes hard at the house, and I'll just leave that there. I won't spoil it, so I'll just leave that where it is. So get onto YouTube, type in When a Stranger Calls 1979. It's a bit hazy, the quality isn't that great, but you'll get through it. But it's still, the movie wise and the plot, I think, holds up for a 41-year-old movie. It's really, really good. Like I said, not a nightmare fuel movie, so that's good. So if you're a 10-year-old or 9-year-old wants to watch something a bit creepy with you, you can definitely watch this movie with them. It's not going to freak them out. So IMDb gave it 6 out of 10. Yeah, I'll give it a 7.5, nearly close to 8. I think it did what it was supposed to do. I thought it was good. Yeah, cool. So rightio, moving right along. I'm going to now ramble off the movies from 1979. These are some absolute bangers. I think the horror fans would recognise these. However, there's some that I haven't seen, and I'm definitely now going to go and watch them after the show. So in 1979, Prophecy came out in January 1990, January 1, 1979. That I'm going to go check out. It's got the cover art of a pretty sinister looking fetus. So I'm going to go check that out. That's kind of piqued my interest. The other one that I do recall in January 17, 1979 was Nosferatu the Vampire, the German movie. Also very good to put on YouTube the music for it and listen to it while you read your favourite scary story. That's definitely a thing to do, because you will have the goosebumps doing that. It's an incredibly creepy soundtrack, but yeah, definitely check it out. Tourist Trap I haven't seen. I've seen a lot of pictures for it. I've seen a lot of references to it, the mannequin masks and all that kind of stuff. It's got me intrigued. I'm pretty keen to go and check it out. So I'll be doing that after the show. Phantasm I have seen. Boy, that was a really good one. I liked that, and I went on this kind of, once I saw the first movie, I kind of went on this Phantasm binge. And started, smashing out the sequels one after another. Some were hit and miss, some were a bit all over the place. You're going to get that. I didn't hate the series. I actually thought it was all right. You just take it as it comes. There's some sequels that were good and some were shit. But, when you watch it all together, you kind of enjoy what Phantasm was about and what the stories all were. And, yeah, so I was pretty interested to do an episode on Phantasm, the series, later on down the track. So I'll be covering that. Of course, everyone knows Alien. That came out on the 25th of March, 1979. The Brood. I remember. I haven't seen that. All I know is about the cover art of the hand coming out the wall grabbing the kid. I remember seeing that on the cover of a VHS tape when I was a bit younger, and thinking, "Whoa!" Like, I don't want to be that kid. I kind of got a bit creeped out standing next to walls after that for a while. I was thinking a nun was going to come out and grab me, but eventually I moved on from it. So, but yeah, definitely going to check that out, see if I can get that on YouTube. The Amityville Horror House, Amityville, 26th of July 1979. So, like I said, 2 days after I was born. My parents went to go and see it at the drive-in. I don't know that year, but I do recall when my mum was talking about it and how spooked out she was, and how she just remembers the pig's eyes and the bleeding wall that just seared into her head. She's always been spooked about the Amityville movie. The Italian movie Zombie, or Zombie 2, in 1979, and that came out on the 25th of August 79, and When a Stranger Calls came out on the 26th of October 79. So there was some other good ones as well. Salem's Lot, that came out as well, with the kid floating near the, let me in, Danny. Yeah, well, I remember, I would have been about 11 when I saw Salem's Lot. That was the classic case of all the VHSs in one, and Salem's Lot happened to be in that pile, and yeah, boy oh boy, that was that freaked me out, and I saw it on TV. I recorded it and watched it on TV, and remembered getting a bit spooked by it when I was a bit older. The vampire looking like Nosferatu was a good touch, and what I thought was funny was when What We Did in the Shadows, when they did the Peter the vampire looks exactly like him. It's just not blue. He's pretty much blue in this one, like a bluish grey colour in Salem's Lot. But yeah, it was definitely a really good movie for its time, and still in a bit. I'm a bit creeped out still by Salem's Lot. It still hasn't lost its touch for me. Especially the floating kid near the window asking to be let in, and he does the smile and he's got all the fangs, and the kid's going, shit, this isn't my friend. So and then in August, Fangoria came out. So at this point it was published by Kerry O'Quinn, and so what you could find in this magazine was Tim Silvani, thinking the bloody Australian football player, Tom Savini. He did an article on, they said revealing his techniques. I don't think he would have gone that much into his techniques. I think there's a few techniques that he's kept close to his chest. 25-year special on Godzilla, and hence why the Godzilla poster was in it, and Godzilla's on the front cover. They had a photo preview of the Alien movie that was coming up, which makes sense because Alien was, so that was interesting. Interview with Christopher Lee, so that was pretty good, and they were selling it for $1.95 back then, back in the good old times when stuff didn't cost an arm and a leg. So yeah, that was pretty good. Like I said, I'm on the hunt now on eBay to try and get a decent copy of one. That would be pretty cool. So that's my little hobby project that I'm going to be doing. Cool. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Adelaide Horror Podcast. Happy birthday to me, and 41. And just enjoying the fact that we've had all these good horror movies ever since '79, and I hope they come out with another 41 years of good times and good horror. So I look forward to just keep watching horror until I get really old and then I can't remember what I'm watching. So hope you all, like I said, are staying well and safe, and just looking after yourselves mentally and physically. We can all get through this. We're not alone, and we do have friends out there in the physical sense, and also in the internet and the cyber sense as well. So if that's what it takes, write to someone, talk to someone. I'm here. There's also helplines in your countries as well. If you Google them, definitely talk to someone if you're feeling down and it's affecting you. Cool. So from the crypt, I want to say stay scary,